if you watch us, all right, if you read 24 site, Cohen knows what's up, understands the Trump playbook. Okay. And there's nothing crazier going on right now than this Epstein scandal. So, dude, what are we looking at? What is this? What's he doing right now?
So I understand it because, in part, I actually created and wrote it. So let me say this Epstein scenario sort of has a lot of twists and turns to it, is about the best way that I could describe it.
Okay.
There's no doubt that there is a concern in the Trump camp over what exists inside that Epstein file. And we know that because that's the reason that they sent the number 2 guy, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, to go engage in conversation with Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, let me be very clear to our audience that had I still been, for example, in the mix, it would have been me who would go to meet with Ghislaine. Why? Well, because you're not going, as I wrote in my Substack of like 2 days ago, you're not going for the purpose of justice. You're not going in order to, act on behalf of the American people and the Department of Justice and the law. You're going there on what I define as the fact-finding mission. And let me be very clear about something too here, all right? Because everything with this Epstein case has to start being defined. It needs to also be explained, because not everything is the way that others are describing it. The fact that Todd Blanche went, while unusual, and I want people to understand this, it is not illegal. It is unusual, but not illegal. And that is extremely important because people are making this out to be much more than it is. There is no doubt in my mind that if Ghislaine knows nothing, which I suspect that she does know nothing, she would have, if she knew something, she would have given it up a long time ago, right? I mean, she's looking at a 20-year sentence. But on the remote chance that maybe there's a memory, maybe she knows of a photo, maybe she knows of somebody who's willing to speak or something. This is what Todd Blanche is doing. And why Todd Blanche? Because he is a loyalist. Yeah. He is a loyalist to the extreme. And again, I know what it's like to be a loyalist, and I know what he's willing to do. If there is information that could be damaging to Donald and to nobody else other than him, what they will do is they will contain that damaging information. You may say, okay, smartass, tell us, how would you do that? Well, the way you do things like that is you issue her a pardon, right? Or you give her a commutation. Better even than a pardon, because you still control her with a commutation. But part of the deal is twofold. One, you leave the country, maybe go to a place where there is no extradition, right? And number two, and they'll set her up with nice quarters and money within which to buy food and so on. Right. And number two, she signed some form of a Frankenstein NDA, one where she cannot write a book about this. She can't assist in documentaries. She can't do anything as it relates to this scenario.
And this is an extreme version of the Stormy Daniels playbook.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely an extreme. Look, Stormy Daniels was a relatively minor event. Stormy was an adult, and also, it was not a sexual assault. It was just an affair.
Right. Do you, and guys, for just joining us here, I'm Tom LoBianco, editor of PFM 24 Site News. We've got former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, he knows the playbook, as he mentioned at the top of this thing, because he wrote it. All right. He knows this operation. And if you see folks behind me, these are actual tourists at the United States Capitol. This is not January 6th rioters. All right. These are people that actually love this place. Okay. So wave to all the tourists. All right. And they'll be watching.
And by the way, to those of you that are watching, do us a favor, smash the shit out of those red hearts, right?
Yes.
Because it helps to promote the fact that we're on. It's something to do with the algorithm, and that little square with the up arrow, that's a share box. Share this with family and friends. To those of you who maybe haven't read my Substack of the morning, which is really all about being tired, being exhausted, but refusing to back down. You cannot give up. I understand people are tired. On my show that I do, Raw and Unfiltered, on Wednesdays, Walsh Wednesday with Joe Walsh, one of the things Joe was saying to me before we actually went live is, he goes, Michael, I'm fucking exhausted. I'm exhausted. I want to take my head. I want to stick it in the sand. I want to close my eyes for like 6 months and re-energize. And I said to him, Joe, you can't talk like that, right? Because I hear many people talking like that. If we do that, apathy will set in. And the worst thing that we can do right now is be apathetic to the scenario that we are unfortunately thrust in. Everybody's talking about the midterm elections, and I think we need to use that as the segue for the next topic that we're going to talk about, which is, of course, what they're doing right now in Texas. Midterm, before the 10-year census is expired, that they're now gerrymandering, they're redistricting Texas for what? For the sole purpose. And Trump was listen, the one thing you got to say about Trump, for better or for worse, guy's fucking transparent. All right. Yeah. He will turn around and he will tell you exactly what he's doing, regardless of how un-American, how unconstitutional, how grotesque it might be. He's not hiding behind any of it. He doesn't give a shit. So what did they decide to do? They've now used AI. They've used maps, and they're able to now quantify how you could redistrict areas to marginalize certain communities that are pro-Democrat, how to enhance parts that are pro-Republican, and to figure out how to pick up an additional 5 congressional seats for the midterms. Because they know right now, historically, number one, the party in power generally loses the House and sometimes the Senate. That's just historical. Not to mention, despite the fact Democrats' favorability numbers are in the toilet, Trump's are even worse. And as Americans start to understand, and not because Michael Cohen says it, not because Tom LoBianco says it, because your fucking wallet says it, because your credit card bill says it. Tariffs are taxes. Here's another 3-word slogan. Consumers pay tariffs. So if you're noticing right now that your toilet paper is more expensive, that the goods that you're buying from China are more expensive, or Indonesia, or the Philippines, or South Korea, it's because, let me say it again, and I want every Democrat to say it every single day, tariffs are taxes. Consumers pay tariffs, plain and simple. And when you go to the ballot box and you're saying to yourself, wait, hold on. Last year, the cost of goods was less than now. Holy shit, Michael Cohen was right. Tariffs are taxes and consumers pay tariffs. And that, which has been denied by these GOP members of the House and the Senate, you will vote their asses out of office.